So I decided to do a video on my Smartboy Hyperkin, which I've had for well over a year now. I see it gets a lot of bad press. A lot of people are complaining about how difficult it is to set up items like that, which I did not have these issues, and I think I might know why for some people. And here's what I kind of came across. A lot of the complaints revolved around not being able to do the settings. Smartboy, for me, came with a USB extension cable. And that made a world of difference. I could see where people who didn't get that had a problem. And from my understanding is they might have not have come with them right away. This whole thing started out as an April Fool's joke back in 2016. And it got so much, I don't know if praise would be the word for it. They ended up actually making the unit. And for me, it was a great unit. I used it with my Nexus 5X and also my Note 8, which the Samsung 8 line, I believe, is really what this thing was mainly designed for, at least the USB-C version, which is what I have. There was a regular micro USB style also, which you could use with like really any phone that could take in a input. This really was just a USB controller. And that's actually what I'm going to kind of get at. If you did install the app, you'll notice that it suggests My Old Boy for the Game Boy emulation, and I would agree with that. I actually bought the purchased version of My Old Boy, and I also purchased My Boy, which is the Game Boy Advance version. And I wanted to kind of point out on how I feel this controller is actually a good controller is the left and right triggers on the back side. They actually do work independently and can be used as your left and right. The Star Wars trilogy, which will be a 3-button game. You have your jump, fire, and then one of the L triggers is actually points up at an angle. Really goofy setup, but still a pretty fun game. I really actually do like the Star Wars games on Game Boy Advance. And for everything we're doing here, this is why you need that USB extension cable, because as you can see, we'd be losing half our screen with it in the Smartboy. So one of the things you'll notice is I picked the first one and I tried it out and it matched what it already was pre-configured. But as I go down this, there's things that aren't, like the start and select button are not the same as what it's looking to see. So I did have to configure those. But once that's done, it remembers it, and then you can back out and go to play the game and test everything out. You'll also notice that because of the camera work, you can't really see my pinky hitting the left trigger, but I will turn it to the side here, and you'll be able to see the right trigger. There will be no turbos or anything set up. I use up all the buttons. But right here, you'll see there's a trigger. My hand will get out of the way here in a second. Right there, I just clicked it. And then what we'll do from there is we'll back out and try the game. So what I did to do this, though, is even though it will fit in the back of the Smartboy does not read Game Boy Advance cartridges. So I do have a backup of my cartridge, and I'm playing it as a ROM. So I do not have the software, the app on my phone, the Hyperkin one for the Smartboy. And the reason why is it's not a problem as long as you don't give it approval to run every time you plug in your phone. When you plug in your phone, it'll pop up. But as long as you don't give it approval and you just cancel out of it, it's not a big deal. So that way you can still play cartridge games. Without having the app, I can't play cartridge games. I have to back my cartridges up and then put them on the phone, which is what I chose to do because I have a Retron 5 at home and I just play my cartridges at home. But when I'm on the go, carrying the Smartboy controller is enough, and I don't need to have all the ROMs or the cartridges with. With that running, you'll see we're going to go through the setup on how to do all the controls. So the start button works. That got me right into the game. There's some prelude stuff here, like single player, just tapping the A button until I get through. The gun goes up. That's me clicking the button, the right trigger to make it go up. And firing, jumping, everything's working just fine. Really, the only problem with it is the person playing the game. Of course, I haven't played this particular one in quite a while. But like I said, I always like these Star Wars games. I felt like the graphics were pretty good on them. They actually look really good on my television with the Retron upscaling them a little bit. But yeah, everything works good with this. You'll notice that I put the emulator icons at the top of the screen. Normally, I'll have a separate screen for this. Currently, I'm using a different phone right now, but I do like to use the Note 8 for this. So I put them up on top, and the reason why is the Smartboy. You'll see here as I line it up, the Smartboy takes up a lot of screen. So if you have the icons too low, you can't tap them. So that's something to keep in mind, having them at the top. And this USB-C cable, you don't want to lose this. If you get them off Amazon, they're not real expensive. I do like this one, though. You'll notice part of it is rigid. There's a good, probably, 3-4 inch rigid space there. And where that comes in handy is when you're putting it down into the Smartboy controller, you can hit that USB at the bottom. If it was just cord all the way, that would be difficult. But I have done it. There's an opening at the bottom there, and you can finagle it in there. But yeah, much easier to have this one. So try not to lose that. Better get some popsicle sticks and just tape it to a cord. I like it. I don't suggest putting the app on. I think ROMs are a better way to go. I know that's maybe not the best thing to say, but I do own my games. That's why I showed the cartridge in it. So I'll pop it out here and try to get it into the Smartboy. Pretty happy with the design. I know some people complain about that too and how it fits, but I thought it was really good how the sides separated out. Once you get used to it, like I'm struggling a bit to get in there. I haven't used it in a while. I forgot you got to kind of adjust the USB-C at the bottom, but they gave a pressure-sensitive toggle for that. Yeah, right there. And then you can also see there's the home key. That's where I believe it was made for these Galaxies. My Nexus 5X, you couldn't hit that home key. Here's my old boy. I can't do anything with it. I have it in here. I did not preset it up. I just recently reformatted, but pop back into the other one and I can play it like normal. It's a lot of fun. The only thing actually I personally would have liked to seen was maybe 2 more buttons for Super Nintendo use. Maybe a pass-through charging. But other than that, for something that was supposed to be an April Fool's joke, this really is nice. You're going to hear a lot of bad reviews, and there's reasons why. I mean, anyone who didn't get a USB extension cable, it was probably horribly frustrating for them. I like it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and share. Let us know, and have a good day. Thanks.